Today we'll be showing you how to reconstruct a riverbank using Agisoft PhotoScan. The first step is to add photos. I have these 120 sample pictures to be used. So, you click load, check to make sure they're all loaded. At this step, I would recommend masking it. However, I'm not going to show you masking just yet because I'd like to show what happens without masking. Aligning photos is the next step. You'll select your accuracy depending upon your goals and whatever works best for your project. Then you will detect the points and the computer will match these points. This step will take exponentially longer the more pictures you have because they need to compare every point. They need to search for every point in every image to see if it appears there. With this set, it took my computer around half an hour to process all of them. And here we have our sparse point cloud. The blue squares represent the frame of the picture, and the black writing is the name of each picture. At this point, you want to be looking at it and thinking, does it make sense? We're seeing black and gray off to the side that doesn't make much sense. We're seeing tan off to the right of the pictures that does look like the riverbank. And you're looking at the order of the pictures taken. That's one of my favorite ways of checking because you should have GPS data that you can look at and say, all right, yeah, this is the order and this is the shape the pictures were taken in. The next step in the workflow, if you believe this is accurate enough and doesn't require more editing, is to generate a dense point cloud. And whether you need this or not is heavily dependent upon your work. This will create a higher detail image, but there can be a lot of extra noise, and in many situations a sparse point cloud is just more efficient to use. This took around an hour to generate on my computer. Once again, might be different depending on different computers. And here we are an hour later. The sparse point cloud still looks the exact same, but we go up into view, go to dense cloud, and here we have a dense point cloud showing significantly more detail. And right away, you're looking and you'll see there's a lot of artifacts, black lines up top, the yellow and blue from the raft. Those will be avoided by masking, actually, which I'll be showing you how to do later in the tutorial. These artifacts are all much too interspersed with the actual riverbank points to be able to edit them out in post-processing, so you want to remove them preemptively using masking. This is the area I'm referring to that's the actual riverbank along with some artifacts. However, there's this whole other area that stems from the last several photos, and we can edit that out entirely by resizing the region of consideration. That's simply done by selecting Resize Region, adjusting the cube to an area that you believe includes all of the riverbank. Be careful not to cut out any of the point cloud that you want to include. And we just do that by viewing all around it and resizing the cube as needed. At this point, you can build a mesh, and this mesh will let you analyze a surface as opposed to just a point cloud, which can be very useful for sediment budgeting or other applications. This only took me around 2 minutes, so once again, all depends on computer and what you're processing. What bears emphasizing here is that you should really have an idea going into processing what level of accuracy you're looking to get. This can be incredibly detailed, which you really don't want over the course of, say, 8 miles of riverbank, or maybe you're very interested in if you're just analyzing one road cut, one area of riverbank, and that will play a large role in what you do to process. That being said, let's take a look at the mesh. I like to view it as a wireframe. Much like LiDAR, a texture intending to show the ground level will be invalid if you don't edit out all points generated from the vegetation in the area. So I'll be showing you shortly how to edit out that vegetation before you align the images. Now the question on everyone's mind, well, I've got these issues, how do I edit them? First select one image, and now here we're going to mask them. I personally like to use the intelligent scissors for this. It's currently selected, which lets me just select vertices in any shaped polygon. So here I'm going to cut out the raft. Now this is what's causing a lot of those images we saw shaping out above the bank. Because this raft appears in every image, it's being used to generate points for reconstructions. So we'll edit that out. When aligning the images, you can choose whether to constrain the orientation by masks or not. Now this depends on whether you have rafts and oars that appear in multiple frames in the same orientation, or whether you just have background points that you want to edit out. If it's like the raft and the oars, they appear in multiple, then you're going to want to constrain them so it isn't used in orientation, because as you saw with these artifacts, that it just generates crazy nonsensical point clouds. If you're only concerned about background images, then don't constrain the orientation by unmasked area, because that'll allow you more points to use for your orientation. That method lets you be as precise as you really want to be using intelligent scissors, but you can also just generate rectangles which will block out large areas that you want to avoid including. So for example, the sky, and this way I can cut out the top of some of the trees, which I believe are generating the greatest amounts of uncertainty, or even the river. Some riffles tend to look like other riffles, so maybe you want to cut those out. This is the most time-intensive step of processing, but the more time you can put in to selecting and masking for all background images you don't want to include, the more high quality of a point cloud you will generate. Well, this is a brief introduction to the start of PhotoScan. I hope you found it useful, and please feel free to view any other tutorials that might provide any advice. Good luck!